So you've retired and you think it's time to relax and enjoy your pension, right? Well, hang on a minute there. That might not necessarily be the best course of action for you. Continuing to fund a pension, even if you've started withdrawing from a pension, can provide some significant benefits to you. Now, if you live in the UK and you've retired, even if you've started taking benefits from your defined benefit pensions or defined contribution pensions or both, you could still consider funding a personal pension. In this 444 video, I'm sharing the 4 main reasons why you should consider pension contributions up to the age of 75, and they are: free money from the government in the form of tax relief, better for your partner or children if you die, less money for the Chancellor when you pop your clogs, and extra spending power. And finally, at the end of the video, if you make it that far, I'll share an example of how pension funding in retirement might help you or your partner cope with the most inevitable of all the life events we'll ever face: death. Right, let's get into this 444. Tax relief, also known as free money from the government. For every £100 you put into a personal pension, the government will put in £25. That £25 is known as tax relief and reflects the fact that the money in your bank account that you use to pay into your pension has already been subject to income tax. So they're giving you that income tax back into your pension. If that seems too good to be true, you'd be right. And the government knows this too. So they put limits on the amount of free money you can claim and for how long. So in order to get tax relief on your personal pension contributions, you need to be under 75. Now that seems fair enough to me. Pensions are for retirement planning and most people should have already retired by the time they get to 75. Now actually, age 75 used to be a significant age for some other pension related rules long since overwritten, but the tax relief not being available after 75 remains. Now perhaps there's a school of thought that says it should be linked to state pension age and increased to 77, but that's for another video and perhaps even another government. As well as the age cap, there's a limit on the amount you can pay into a pension and still get tax relief. This is known as the annual allowance, and I've done a video about this up here. The annual allowance is set at 100% of relevant earnings or £60,000, whichever is lower. And relevant earnings is basically salary or profit from self-employment. So if you earn, say, £40,000 per annum, that's the most you can pay into a pension. That's 100% of relevant earnings and is less than £60,000. If you earn £100,000, you can only pay in the maximum £60,000. If you have no relevant earnings because you're retired, the annual allowance is not zero. It's £3,600, including the tax relief from the government, which is £2,880 before the tax relief is added. That means everyone, from newborn babies to pensioners, who are under 75, have an annual allowance of £3,600. But here's where it gets really interesting. By paying in £2,880 into a personal pension, the government will add in an extra £720 in tax relief for free. So your pension will be worth £3,600. Which is not a bad return, 25% to be exact. Not many places you can get an immediate uplift that's equivalent to a guaranteed 25% return. And because it's an annual allowance, it's available every year until you're 75. And it's available to everyone, meaning it's available to both you and your partner. So you can each pay in £2,880 and each get £720 tax relief from the government. And you can do that every single tax year up until age 75. Now, as an aside, this amount is comfortably below the money purchase annual allowance, which is now £10,000. I've done videos about all the allowances and death benefits related to pension, so I'll put links in the description below. Now, when you come to take money out of a pension, 25% of the value can be paid free of income tax. It used to be known as tax-free cash, but is now officially known as Pension Commencement Lump Sum, PCLS. But it's the same thing. If you're a non-taxpayer and you have more than £2,700 of unused personal allowance available, you can take it all out the very next day. So you put in £2,880 and withdraw £3,600, that's a 25% return. This is because 25% of the £3,600 is paid tax-free as PCLS, that's £900, and the remaining £2,700 is within the personal allowance, so is paid free of income tax. The reality is HMRC will probably tax you. They'll assume you're going to be receiving £2,700 each month and tax you accordingly, but you will be able to reclaim all the tax back from HMRC. If you're a basic rate taxpayer, it's still pretty good. The £900 PCLS is still the same, but the £2,700 will be taxed at 20%, meaning you'd eventually get £2,160. You might have to reclaim some overpaid tax back from HMRC like in the previous example. So the £900 PCLS and the £2,160 equates to £3,060, but you only paid in £2,880. That's a return of 6.25%. If you're a high rate taxpayer in retirement, the maths of tax relief and instant withdrawals doesn't work for you. You only get tax relief at 20% on the way in to the pension, but you pay tax at 40% on the way out. But the other benefits still apply to everyone, even higher rate taxpayers. And the next one we're going to look at is death benefits. One major benefit that's often overlooked when it comes to pensions is the death benefits. If you die, you can nominate who you would like to inherit your unused pension. If you die before age 75, any withdrawals from an inherited pension will be typically free of income tax. If you die after 75, any withdrawals from an inherited pension will be taxed as income in the year of the withdrawal. So what does that mean? Well, anything that you save into a pension can be inherited by your partner if you die first, assuming you'd nominated them as a beneficiary. Anything your partner saves into a pension can be inherited by you if they die first, if you're the nominated beneficiary, obviously. And if death occurs before 75, it creates a pot of tax-free money for the survivor. And they've still got their own pension to take withdrawals from too, if they want. Anything left unspent in a personal pension or an inherited pension can be passed on to the next generation with a new death benefit nomination. It wouldn't be complete to cover pensions and death without covering off inheritance tax, and that is our next port of call. Your pension, including an inherited pension, is always outside your estate for inheritance tax purposes. This is huge because if you have an estate that is liable to inheritance tax, moving money into a personal pension takes it outside of your estate immediately. No need to survive 7 years before it drops out of your estate, as is the case with most gifts. And the great thing is you are always in control of the investment strategy and, more importantly, whether you withdraw it and when. So when it comes to inheritance tax, each person has a £3,000 annual gift exemption, which means you can gift £3,000 from your estate each year without any inheritance tax being due on that gift, irrespective of how long you live. Your partner can do the same. And if you haven't used last year's annual gift exemption, you can carry it forward to this year and gift £6,000 each. This means that using this exemption over the next 10 years, you and your partner can each gift £33,000 out of your estate, perhaps to your children or grandchildren, with zero IHT liability on the gift. That's £66,000. By using your annual pension allowance as well as the £3,000 annual exemption, you'll be able to take an additional £2,880 out of your estate each year. That's £28,800 each over 10 years, or £57,600 between you. But remember that the government will be adding in tax relief to the tune of £14,400 too. So that's an additional £72,000 outside of your estate on top of the gifts. But if there's any investment growth in the pension, that's also outside your estate. Well, let's assume that the pensions have grown to £40,000. That money is available for you to withdraw at any point. You can bring it back into your estate to spend. That's simply not the case with a gift. Once you have gifted money away, you have zero say in how that money is spent. With a pension, you remain in full control. Yes, there may be income tax on you if you decide to withdraw it from the pension, but that's okay because you had the tax relief on the money going in. Nothing comes close to the IHT planning features of a personal pension. Outside your estate from day one and 100% control of what you do with it. Not forgetting the ability to benefit from any investment growth in the future if required. So let's look at investment growth in a bit more detail. Money in a personal pension can be invested in stuff that goes down as well as up. This means there's the potential for significant investment growth. I have a number of clients who have funded pensions in their retirement for the benefit of their children after they've passed on to the other side. Some of these clients have taken a much more adventurous approach to investment risk for these pensions because they know they are never going to need the pension to support or maintain their standard of living in retirement. Their pensions are an inheritance tax planning tool for their beneficiaries in the future. This additional investment growth will be enjoyed by the future generations of their family. Now, I mentioned at the start that I'd share how pension funding can be used in practice, but before I do, I've got a quick request. Now, we're looking to grow this channel, so if you found this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. And if you've got any ideas of other pension related topics you'd like me to cover, drop it into the comments. So how can pension funding work for you? Well, here's an example. Imagine a couple retire at 60 with a lovely retirement planned. Fortunately, they have sufficient wealth to have an IHT liability. They decide to fund their pensions at a rate of £2,880 per annum each. At age 70, these pensions have each grown to £40,000. That's £80,000 in total when one of them unexpectedly dies. Ignoring any other lost pension income, one state pension stops overnight. But with the pensions funded after retirement, the survivor inherits the deceased pension, valued at £40,000, as they were the nominated beneficiary. And they've still got their own pension, also valued at £40,000. Now the survivor has access to £80,000 of pension that can be used to replace the lost state pension income. And this is the case irrespective of which of the partners dies first. Withdrawals from the inherited pension will be free of income tax because the death occurred before age 75, and 25% PCLS can be taken from their own £40,000 pension pot tax-free. That's £50,000 tax-free, which could be £10,000 per year for the next 5 years, which takes them to age 75, and then taxable withdrawals from the remaining £30,000 pension fund. And this assumes very modest investment growth. This is a much better outcome for the survivor. And if you're in a couple, you need to appreciate that one of you will die first and the survivor will face their financial future alone. Putting a plan in place that the survivor will thank you for in the future is absolutely essential. Imagine now that instead of dying at 70, the first partner to die passes away at age 85, at which point the pensions have grown to £100,000 each. The surviving partner inherits the pension, so now has a combined pension of £200,000 that's been funded during their retirement. Any withdrawals from either the pension or the inherited pension will be subject to income tax because death occurred after 75. There's no PCLS available as they are older than 75. The survivor's living expenses have decreased significantly and they only need modest withdrawals from the £200,000 pension fund. They update their death benefit nominations in favour of their grown-up children who will inherit the entire unused pensions outside the estate for inheritance tax upon the second death. So as you can see, continuing to fund your pension after retirement can be a smart move for planning for the future and coping with unexpected events. It's always important to remember that investments can go down as well as up, and nothing in this video should be considered financial advice. I'm simply sharing some of the benefits and use cases of pension that I've seen in my 25 years as a financial planner. Now, you should seek regulated financial advice tailored to your exact financial landscape before you make any changes to your existing financial arrangements or implement any new financial products. Thanks for watching. Till next time, take care. Mate, what are you doing? I'm recording a video. Well, you can't just come up here. Look, say hello. Look, there we go. What's this? Look, what's down there? Come on, man. You gonna get down? Say hello, Milo. No. Mate, get down. Stop it. Mate, stop. Stop it now.